Well, we made the upper 90s to around 100 in some places. Some places fell a little short, but everybody seemed to burn up today. And in case you missed it today because you were hiding in the house with air conditioning, you'll have your chance tomorrow. But there will be some changes coming for the second half of the week. We shall, of course, go through all those fabulous changes right here on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. And you can support the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast by shopping on Amazon using our referral link that's on the descriptor to this podcast. Just search for your items, shop, pay for them, and Amazon throws us back a little bit of coin out of their pocket. And that helps to keep the Joe and Joe Weather Show live podcast free of advertising, except for this one and the one that's going to follow. So thank you for those of you who have done your Amazon shopping using our referral link. And Tempest by WeatherFlow. Get the revolutionary Tempest weather system. I have one. And join the fastest growing observing weather network on the planet. The link is actually pinned to the top of the chat board. It's also on the descriptor to this podcast. And if you use the coupon code Summer 2025 for anything you purchase from the Tempest website, you will get.
Let me see. What do you get? The heat must have gotten to me. Oh, yes. 10%. 10% off.
That's 10% off, Mr. Rayo.
Yeah.
Don't you forget it. So I've got the, I want to do this now because at 8 o'clock, the map resets from the Weather Service on the hazards map. Just a peppering of some of the high temperatures today. And it got to 101. That's the highest number. Now, I could go really tight and find, and we'll have 5,000 weather stations to look at. Newark International hitting 101 today. Caldwell, Essex County Airport got to 100. New Middlesex County got to 100. Coyle Field in Southwest Ocean County got to 100. Atlantic City the International Airport, Joe, got to 99. And it got to 99 like at noontime. And it couldn't push above that. The Woodbine Station to the south, closer to Wildwood, also got to 99. What was kind of remarkable today is on Long Island, 91 at Montauk, the high temperature there, and many South Shore temperatures, which you have a sea breeze issue along the South Shore, particularly on the East End, but that just wasn't the case today. And in Pennsylvania, Philadelphia got to 98. At Philadelphia International Airport. Doylestown to the north got to 99. 102 at the C&D Canal Bridge in Delaware. I've actually crossed the C&D Bridge, Joe. It's fantastic. Baltimore, what did Baltimore get? Baltimore only got to 97, and Washington only got to 97. Only, he says. And to the north, not to leave out our friends in New England, Hartford, Brainerd Airport, 99. Westfield, which is to the west of Springfield, got to 100. Springfield, Chicopee Falls, Joe, Chicopee Falls. I don't know if that's near Chickasaw Falls. 98. And let's see, Worcester, 93. Logan got to 90. Lawrence C. Hanscom Field Airport, which is northwest of Boston, inland, got to 97. And I'll just finish off with Albany, which got to 97. Let's see. Oneonta got to 96. What else? Yeah, you get the idea. Everybody did their share today. And it's going to be a repeat performance tomorrow.
If anything, Joe, it looks like tomorrow could even be hotter than what we saw out there today. Where I am, here in Putnam Valley, my weather station registered 100 degrees. We got to 100 here at the home base at 2:33 this afternoon. I really don't remember the last time I saw triple digits here, but I know it's been a while. Now, what's interesting to me is that at 2:56 this afternoon, the temperature at Westchester County Airport in White Plains hit 96. Now, you know how difficult it is to get to 90, even 90 degrees at White Plains. First of all, it's not White Plains, it's Harrison. Secondly, they usually get a light sea breeze off of Long Island Sound, which keeps them cooler by a few degrees or more. But 96 today at White Plains, that broke the old record of 93 for White Plains. Now, obviously, they did not have an airport in White Plains in 1888. That 93-degree reading was recorded by Dr. Oliver R. Willis as part of the Smithsonian Institution Weather Network. Again, that dates back to 1888. And by the way, the hottest temperature ever recorded in White Plains in June is 98, and that was set back on June 21st, 1953. And I will tell you right now, that record of 98 in June could very well be in jeopardy tomorrow. I could see temperatures, even in White Plains tomorrow, reaching to 100 degrees. And in fact, on my Facebook page, my Facebook forecast, I went for a high temperature range tomorrow of 96 to 104 with a heat index of 105 to 110. If that's not dangerously hot and humid, I don't know what is, but it is going to be a sweltering hot day for tomorrow.
By the way, just looking at, I can bring this map back up. First of all, Paul Roman, thank you for hitting Super Chat tonight. Appreciate it. And Scott Briller also hitting the tip jar tonight, asking a question, and it's related to what we're talking about here. New York City has only hit 100 degrees 3 times in the month of June. And what wind direction is the only chance to get to that 100? And the answer is either, well, it's got to be either west or west northwest. You could do it with a west southwest wind in, later July and August, but in June you kind of have to have a west wind with no water component from, and that, because anything coming in off the ocean is going to cool things down. I'm just looking at some of the numbers on the digital forecast for tomorrow. The numbers are all hovering around 100. I think they must have went to the forecaster and twisted their arms not to put 100 degrees. 99 for New York City. They have 103. I don't know what spot that is on the Connecticut coast southwest of Bridgeport. I'm getting, or maybe it is Bridgeport. I don't know. But they got 103 there. They have a 99 for Poughkeepsie. They have 100 for Trenton, 101 for Philadelphia, 99 for Atlantic City, 99 for Islip, which is, also kind of a hard place to get to 100, although it does happen. But jump to the East End. Now, this doesn't make a lot of sense to me. They got a 79 for Southampton for a high tomorrow, but Montauk 88. Now, I don't know how that is, how that can be.
It is kind of a weird type of scenario. Um, I mean, what are the winds at West Hampton? Are they west southwest or?
No, yeah. I mean, they're just like west southwest, almost parallel to the South Shore line, and that's the same in Montauk. But I don't know why it would be 79, unless it's, the only thing I can think of is that 79 maybe represents something that's off the Great South Bay, and not. I'm sorry, not the Great South Bay. What am I thinking of? Peconic Bay. Um, rather than off the Atlantic. So I don't know, just kind of weird. 102 for Hartford tomorrow, 102 for Boston, 102 for Springfield, but Worcester, no, 101 for them. And the highest number I could find in this area, 104 for Baltimore, and they fell short today, only making it to the upper 90s, and 101 for Washington, D.C. So there you
Well,
go. That's for
there
tomorrow.
you go. There you go. It's
And you've got
going to be
heat
hot.
and you've got heat advisories all over the place. Looking on the watches and warnings map, and of course the extreme heat warnings from coastal Maine down to North Carolina, because everybody's going to pretty much have a west wind tomorrow. So there's that. The heat advisories go all the way back to the Mississippi River. They extend all the way south into southern Georgia, southern Alabama, and Mississippi, and into central Louisiana. However, if you notice in north and northeast, in North Georgia, northeast Georgia in particular, and in western North Carolina, there are no heat advisories up because today, I mean, I got to 90 today, but that was like at the last minute at like 4 o'clock this afternoon. Between 4 and 5, because of the sunrise and sunset times here, because our sunset's after 9 p.m. And our sunrise is like 6 a.m. ish. Well, we usually hit our high temperatures here between 4:30 and 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So I got to 90 today, and it's the third day in a row that we've touched the 90-degree mark per my weather station, my Tempest Weather Flow weather station, whose link is pinned to the top of the chat board, Joe.
Well, the fact is that you're up at 2,200 feet above sea level, and that certainly helps to diminish the threat of any extremely hot temperatures. Whereas, Atlanta and Point South probably did get easily into the 90s today.
Well, and I also had most of today. I had a northeast or a northeast or an east wind, which is downslope, which is also if it's downslope, uh, all the moisture's wrung out of it. So it really was not that humid here. I mean, it was really for me it was pretty comfortable, to tell you the truth. And we were in the 50s this morning, which was even better.
Wow. Well, tomorrow may be the hottest day that we've seen locally here in about 13 years. New York has not hit 100 since 2012. Tomorrow may be their day to do it. We'll see.
Okay. Jason Schaefer, yes, I'm only about 80 miles from the central time zone. So my sunsets are later and my sunrises are later here on the based on the time of the clock. Um, Other than that, we've got some severe thunderstorm watches up tonight from Wisconsin through Iowa into northeast Kansas. We have flash flood watches up in New Mexico. A lot of Pacific moisture left over from Hurricane Eric is streaming northward, and so they're going to be seeing some heavy rains there. Otherwise, the rest of the country is pretty much okay. And checking out the satellite, I like this time of year where you can actually see, you really can see the upper high. I mean, we always can notice when we've got these strong storms and you look at the cloud signatures. But if you look at how everything is moving, it's pretty obvious that we have a big ridge here in the eastern part of the United States. All these Gulf of Mexico and Gulf state storms are going from east to west. You have these storms that are running up from New Mexico northeastward up through the Central Plains and into the Great Lakes. The wind is southwest and west there, so you've got clockwise rotation here around a big upper high that's probably centered right over western Virginia and western North Carolina and southern West Virginia. And it's got one more day to play out before it starts to get suppressed to the south.
And all of the news media, of course, making reference to that upper level high pressure system as, quote, the heat dome.
Oh,
And, giving you the impression that underneath that you will be exceedingly hot. And it is hot. But
it's hot. I get, and it is, and I get it. And it's on the probably near the upper end of the range of temperatures that we've seen over the last 150 plus years. But it's a 3-day heat wave, if you want to call it a heat wave for 3 days. I said this yesterday, and I'll say it again. One of these years, we're going to get one of those, 10, 11, 12 days in a row of 90 degrees plus. What are they going to do? Can you imagine what they're going to do with that when that happens?
The end of the world. It's, we've never seen heat like this before in our entire life,
I did
And
see
those of
that.
us, and those of us of a certain age, thinking back to the 80s and especially the 70s and the 60s, can remember. I remember, listening to Gordon Barnes on News Radio 88. Hazy, hot, and humid again for today, our sixth consecutive day. Stagnant air, and it continues to be in place. Maybe a thunderstorm north and west of the city over the higher terrain. And we'd go through that every single day for like 6, 7, 8, 9 days. And we've not seen anything comparable to that. I mean, we're seeing extreme heat now, and we'll see it again tomorrow. But would you like to see that for 5, 6, 7, 8 straight days? It ain't happening this year. We will, and we'll get into that in just a moment. We will get into a bit of a break from all of this by later in the week. But there was a time, Joe, and you will certainly remember that we had these extended, long stretches of heat and humidity, and people going crazy in the streets. Like, when is this going to end?
And the fire hydrants were open.
That's right. Or as we called them back in the old neighborhood, the Johnny pumps.
The Johnny pumps, yes.
Mm.
And yeah, forgot about. I haven't heard that phrase in ages.
Hey, hey, guys! Hey, the Johnny pump! Somebody open the Johnny pump! It's going, yeah, and
You needed
that,
somebody with one of those gigantic plumber's wrenches to open them up,
exactly,
and not everybody had.
exactly.
Not but you couldn't do it with pliers. Um,
And initially, you open those up, and a rush of water would come out. I mean, a tremendous rush of water. And you go in there, and if you didn't weigh enough or whatever, you get knocked over by that. Then, in order to conserve water, the sanitation department said, if you would like to open one of the fire hydrants, you can, but you have to put on the sprinkler. And actually, I had like a cap that went over the opening, and then you open it up, and you have this glorious sprinkler that everybody would run through. Then, man, I tell you, I haven't thought about that in, like, I don't know, 40, 50 years.
yeah, me too. Oh, radars are quiet. My God, there's nothing up and down the East Coast. You got a little bit of scattered activity around the Gulf Coast with the odd severe thunderstorm here and there. The main area is along a frontal boundary that's not making progress at the moment. You can see the showers and thunderstorms, and we do have areas of severe thunderstorms in Wisconsin tonight, and particularly active back through Iowa and down into parts of Kansas. And then we look in New Mexico, where we have showers and thunderstorms with some heavy rains, a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings there, as well as some flash flooding. And these echoes here are moving to the north. Not a whole lot happening out in the western part of the U.S. The Storm Prediction Center at the moment, give this a quick refresh, 3 severe thunderstorm watches in play from northeast Kansas to Wisconsin, and it's all inside an area of slight risk. The marginal risk extends west from there into southeast Colorado, down through New Mexico, and into West Texas. You see the area in the east. Other than a marginal risk in northern Maine, there's no thunderstorm risk at all from southern Maine down to southern Georgia for the most part. Now, tomorrow, we have a slight risk in the western plains, eastern Colorado, eastern Wyoming, western South Dakota, western Nebraska, a marginal risk that extends from there east across the lower Great Lakes, and then swings on up through the interior portions of the Northeast. Now, Wednesday, with a frontal boundary, that frontal boundary is going to start sagging southward. So we do have a marginal risk for southern New England, the lower and middle and upper Hudson Valley, New Jersey, Long Island, New York City, all of Pennsylvania, down into Maryland, Delaware, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, into Alabama, and then west across northern Ohio, northern Indiana, northern Illinois, southern Michigan, southern Wisconsin, all of Iowa, southern Minnesota, all of Nebraska, all of South Dakota, and a small portion of North Dakota, eastern Montana, and eastern Wyoming.
It's
Were you impressed by that?
oh yeah, well, I for tomorrow I did mention for tomorrow evening a slight risk, and underscore that word slight, of a gusty thunderstorm primarily north of Interstate 84, and then I have a more general threat of showers and storms later on Wednesday and Wednesday night. So, but I'm still covering my what for tomorrow for anyone who happens to be living, let's say, in a part of Ulster County or Dutchess County or Sullivan County. Don't be surprised if tomorrow evening there might be a shower or thunderstorm passing through your area.
Yeah,
And it
it's
could be
it,
local.
it's one of those days where you get these teeny tiny. Sometimes you can get these teeny tiny little convective storms that come and go very quickly, but they're very, very isolated. And that's sort of how I'm seeing tomorrow. I also threw in the tiny, very, very small chance that there could be an isolated, and I do mean isolated, thunderstorm.
Right. I would agree. And after what happened yesterday, when I was assuring my wife that we wouldn't probably have any kind of shower or storm till after 11 o'clock or noon tomorrow, and at 8 o'clock in the morning, looked out the window. It's rain. So this type of a hot, very hot and humid air mass, and that front that you mentioned will be within striking distance. After all, in northern sections of my area, in the lower Hudson Valley, they have marginal risk for severe.
Yes.
So there could very well be something passing on through.
And we may have to
Not,
add a slight risk in there when we get.
not necessarily during the daytime, but toward the end of the day or for a short time in the evening tomorrow. Watch out! There could be something.
Yeah. As far as severe weather goes, I was thinking about Wednesday with them. They got the marginal risk. I'm thinking we might have a slight risk on the map somewhere tomorrow.
That's quite possible.
Yeah. Rainfall. Now, remember two things, folks. A lot of what you see in the east is actually from Wednesday on, not for the next 2 days. And also, we're in that convective time of year. So that means that you can take these amounts and maybe double them. Some cases you might triple them, depending on how thunderstorms set up and whether you get one that sits, uh, locally on some spot for hours at a time. But in general, it's a half to 3/4 in the east. It's actually a quarter of an inch or less from northern New Jersey to southern and eastern New England. And then you run down the coast, and it could be a quarter of an inch, it could be 3/4 of an inch. In the western Carolina mountains, it's actually up to a few inches being indicated there, almost to me. We've got some heavy precip indicated along the Gulf Coast of the Florida Panhandle, southern Alabama, and Mississippi, of up to a few inches. Bigger rain amounts in southern Minnesota into Iowa and Wisconsin, where we see areas of 3 to 4 inches. And in New Mexico, and you can see that little, that tongue of moisture coming up through Mexico and running up into New Mexico. That's, uh, again, tropical moisture left over from Hurricane Eric. And you see that we're areas of up to several inches of rain and not much in the western part of the United States. So if we take a look at the upper air going forward, in this time of year where the main jet is pulling up into Canada much of the time, and you're not seeing the jet stream pretty far south. That is not the case in the West. In the West, we have actually a really deep trough that's into the western part of the United States. And of course, that is what's pumping up this ridge. And while we're way above normal temperature wise in a lot of places, a lot of spots out in the western part of the U.S. are way below normal, which is how it works. Well, that ridge is going to start to flatten out a bit as we head through Tuesday and into Wednesday. It starts to allow more of a flow from Canada to kind of drop down into the lakes and into New York State and New England. And of course, you're on the edge of the hot air. There's a frontal boundary, and then you got the cooler air to the north. So that's probably where, that is where you're going to see some showers and thunderstorms running around along that boundary, which is likely to settle over New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania on Wednesday and still be there on Thursday. Now, eventually, as we move through Friday and the weekend, we see the high actually weaken a little bit more. And you still got that westerly flow. So we're still kind of on the edge. So I think there's probably going to be some risks for showers and storms not all the time, but from time to time, you're going to get a ripple moving along in the flow, and you're going to see that it's going to produce some showers and thunderstorm chances maybe late Thursday, maybe again on Friday, and probably over the weekend. Eventually, we do see the models trending toward a trough in the east, and that comes along around July 1st and 2nd, and it just moves along, which is good because that means if you follow this flow, this upper flow would suggest that we'd get some kind of a front coming through around I don't know, the 1st or 2nd, and then it just dries out for the 3rd and for the 4th of July. The jet stream pattern overall, Joe, looks rather active for the first part of July.
I was telling somebody who had asked me yesterday, I really hope you can tell me what the weather's going to be like from this weekend to the middle of next week, because apparently he's going to some kind of resort on the east end of Long Island, spent a lot of money, and he's been hearing all kinds of stuff about, cloud cover and showers and, all this. And what I told him is, once you go beyond 5 days, you're really taking a chance. But I told him that while it may very well be true that much of the time he'll be looking at humidity and clouds and the ongoing threat of showers, the time when he's ready to leave, which would be the middle of next week, would be like July 2nd. And now we're getting close to and entering that period for the holiday weekend, the Independence Day weekend. I said, the way things are looking right now, to me, we may see the pattern flip, get into a northwesterly flow, some cooler air, some drier air from Canada flowing on in, and the weather may look very good for the holiday late next week into that weekend. I said, I don't know, I hope I'm wrong. If only maybe it'll come in sooner and you can salvage some of your vacation time, which again will come to an end the middle of next week. But again, about the middle of next week, I think we're going to see that flip that you just alluded to, the upper level winds coming out of the northwest and setting the stage for hopefully some better, more comfortable things to come as we get close to the upcoming holiday weekend.
And just taking a look at the European tonight, uh, you're seeing concentrations of showers and storms in various places around the country. But in reality, tomorrow most of the country is going to be dry. You've got showers and storms from New Mexico to Colorado and then northeastward toward the lakes, but not much else other than the pop-up storm in the Gulf states. And the West, of course, is pretty dry. Now, on Wednesday, you're going to have this frontal boundary kind of sinking southward and getting close to the coast Wednesday afternoon. So I think that's where you may see some showers and storms form. That frontal boundary is going to hang. So we may have to wait till later on Thursday for it to really push southward. And then once that happens, we're going to get into a bit of an onshore flow across the northeast and northern mid-Atlantic states for Friday into early Saturday. I was looking at the whole setup. I could see where on Friday it may not get out of the 70s, the way it's shaping up. And of
And
course,
also there might also be a bit of relief in terms of lower dew points for that one day for the end of the week on Friday, and then with the front, trying to push back north and bouncing back into our area, I could see for like Saturday, Sunday, and on into next Monday,
yeah.
a pattern of more heat, more humidity, not totally cloudy, variable cloudiness or clouds mixed with hazy sun, and that again risk ongoing of a passing shower or maybe a thunderstorm.
Yeah, in fact, I'm just the European in terms of timing would have a front come through late Tuesday, which is the 1st of July, with some showers and storms, and maybe that winds up producing some severe weather in some places. But it's got a nice little high there over Lake Superior that comes in and starts to build in on Wednesday and settles in for Thursday and Friday. So I think the second right now, if I had to make a bet, unless this changes radically, the second half of next week it's going to be decent and it's going to be warm, but it's not going to be too hot. It's not going to be hot, and it's not going to be that humid for the second half of next week.
And I seem to remember 1986. 1986 was the year when we celebrated the restoration of the Statue of Liberty, and there was a big Fourth of July celebration. I remember President Reagan making a speech at the statue and all kinds of fireworks displays courtesy of the Grucci fireworks people in it. But I also remember that was probably the nicest Fourth of July holiday in terms of weather. Cool, dry, temperatures right around. Now I'm not saying that that's going to be the case for later next week. As Joe just mentioned, it's going to be warm still. But I mean, I was really remembering that dry, cool Canadian airflow, which brought some lovely weather. Probably again the nicest weather pattern I've ever seen or remember for the 4th of July. But this 4th of July, as Joe just alluded to, thanks to check of the European, and hopefully the European will be correct. It looks like we're going to be into a very nice, comfortable, dry pattern just in time for Independence Day 2025.
Just taking a quick look at the GFS. Uh, I'm not going to show it. It brings that Tuesday front and stalls it, and then it's got waves of low pressure. So it's got soaking thunderstorms here on Friday and the 4th of July, lasting into Friday night, and then it clears out on. It doesn't even clear out because the front stalls again from Virginia on southward. Of course, the reason why it's doing that is because the GFS actually has a tropical storm or a tropical some kind of tropical system that forms in the northeast Gulf and hangs around there. Again, it loves to do that, so that's probably impacting the model like it always does, which is why I've been basically ignoring it. And again, go back a few weeks ago where we had day after day of showing hurricanes in the Gulf and hurricanes going to Florida, and guess what? Didn't happen. So there you go. You have Briller Jeopardy, do you not?
I do, and
You do. And while you get that ready, Joe, let's just say hi to everybody tonight on the chat board. And for those of you lurking in the background, welcome to tonight's Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. We're here Sunday through Thursday at 7:35. We're off Fridays and Saturdays unless there's a big storm around. So if you like the show, please hit the like button because we love it when you hit the like button. And we love the fact that you like the show. And of course, turn your notifications on so you don't miss us. You don't want to miss us. Life would just not be worth living if you missed the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. So there. Okay, I'm ready.
I'm not. Hang on.
Through all of that, you had 60 seconds to pull that up.
Well, it
Or were
takes me
you
longer.
mesmerized? Well, if you're on a gateway computer, I can understand that.
Okay. I had a gateway computer one time. All right, so we're going to
Tony G,
continue.
Tony Gigi still does.
Uh, we're going to continue with the hottest temperature ever in each state, and we'll start with Massachusetts.
Massachusetts?
Yeah,
I'll say 108.
close, very close. You're in snake country with that 108, Joe.
Craig Kahlberg says 109.
That's a little too warm.
Okay, so that means it's in the other direction. Come on, somebody say 107.
Carol
And Carol
DeChara.
DeCara was the fastest with the keyboard. She gets the bell ring. 107.
And Latex Dreams also at 107. David Fuller, 107. Now they're all coming in with 107. Mike Waterhigh Bonsai. And Tobis Narajagu. Yagu. Or whatever. All right. Michigan.
Michigan. And we got some really wicked numbers in some of the Midwest states like Illinois and Indiana. I'll say 111.
Once again, Joe, snake country for you.
Northern Grace said 110.
And we have a winner on the chat board. It's Pat BFD 112. Congratulations, you got it, 112. And I don't know if it was the upper peninsula or the lower peninsula, but I knew it's a 112 degree. Minnesota.
I'll say 113.
A good guess, not close enough. Tyler Fenga, however, got it. 115. 115 in Minnesota. How do you like them apples, Joe? Baked apples, actually. And how about MIS, SIS, SIPPI? That used to be so hard to spell. It used to make me cry.
I'll try 111 again.
111? Ain't working for you. Too cool.
Too cool. Okay. David Daniel says 113.
Closer, but still on the cool side.
Northern Grace says 116.
That's too warm.
Okay. Chuck Cardillo says 115. And Joe Gaffney says 114.
Joe Gaffney, you were out by one, and 115 it was. Tyler Fengo, 115. Frank Scalero, 115. There you go. Rich Rothmansky, 115 degrees. Last one tonight, Missouri. Hottest temperature ever in the state of Missouri.
I'll say 117.
Once again, Joe, just a little
Just
bit.
missing. Yeah, that's me tonight. Northern Gray says 118, and Mike Waterhouse Bonsai said 116.
Tyler Fenga said 118, and Rich Wortmansky said 118. Bobby Livingsworth, you're way off with 131. But what else is new?
Ah, that's a Death
118.
Valley. That's a Death Valley guess. Save it for the next time the Death Valley question comes up.
And by the way, I just learned this the other day. What's the nickname for St. Louis?
I don't know.
Well, all cities have a nickname. The Big Apple for New York, for
Right.
example. But the St. Louis, I didn't even know this, but St. Louis has a nickname. Do you anybody know what it is? No, Harold Olson. That would be a good guess. The
The
Arch.
Arch? No,
No,
yeah.
but it's not the Arch.
Um, well, we have the sports teams are the Cardinals and the St. Louis Blues that I can think of.
Brotherly love. Well,
That's
yeah, brotherly
Philadelphia.
love is Philadelphia. Yeah. All right, I'm going to tell you right now. It's believe it or not, it's the loo.
The loo?
The loo.
Well, in England, the loo is a toilet or the bathroom.
Hey Joe, I'm
Yeah,
only telling you what I'm only telling
I
you what I heard.
understand, and I'm just telling you also that in British, when you say you need to go to the loo, means you need to go to the bathroom.
Right.
Oh,
Or
well,
sometimes
that's
sometimes you could say the WC, and that got former Tonight Show host Jack Parr in a bit of trouble.
what's WC stand for?
WC, water
Yeah.
closet.
Oh, the water
Water closet.
closet. Okay.
Right. But a joke that he told on the air one night, or at least he told it. The show was recorded and NBC edited out saying it was in poor taste. But he's talking about a guy who wanted to know where the WC is, and he figured the WC was the Westminster Chapel. Meanwhile, the other guy who he's getting the directions from thought he meant the water
Water
closet.
closet. Gotcha.
So, yeah.
All right. All right. So on the on a show-ending subject of toilets, we shall say good night and leave it for tomorrow at 7:35 p.m. Eastern Time. So we'll see everybody tomorrow, and we'll see if SPC has been watching the show tonight and they add a slight risk. That will be the tell-all. Of
Yeah.
course, now that I said that, they may just purposely not put up a slight risk, but we'll see. Because this way we win either way. So we'll see you all tomorrow at 7:35 p.m. Night night.
Good night, folks, and thank you all for the 60 likes tonight. Not bad.
Oh, and Paul Roman and the chairman Scott Briller hitting super chat. Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow.